welcome to Real Estate with Ryan on a Saturday in the studios with my guys, having a little fun talking real estate. It's always fun talking real estate. Always fun being with you on a Saturday. So it's busy around here. So we got a great show. Hope you guys are doing well and excited about the spring market. It's in the air. You feel it. The weather's like 75 today, and spring is right around the corner. So we got a good show for you. But before we start our show, as always, got some congrats, got some people that we have to thank that gave us an opportunity. Nick was saying something earlier, said it's always about that agent that you choose, right? It's always about that agent that you trust. And in this marketplace, it's more important than ever. Now, more important than ever, somebody asked me, what's going to separate yourself from the competition or separate yourself in the market? I was on a coaching call and I said, you know what? Really just being straightforward with people, being honest, helping people. And that's what our company is all about, helping people, whether you're relocating from California, whether you're downsizing and you go into that forever place. And I've got a client just called me a few minutes ago, great past client. He said, Ryan, I'm retiring. I'm closing the doors and I'm going to sell this and then I'm just going to take it easy. So there's a season for everybody. And we're just glad to be part of that season, part of that process. And as I told you, some congrats going here. Congratulations to Regas Square, officially sold out. All those units are now closed. Regas Square is sold. So I talked about it for a couple of weeks. I know Nick and I have been kind of chatting about it. Before you know, we were down to a couple of units, and here we go. So it's sold out. Beautiful building, 101 units. We're going to miss it. But we got some great new owners in that property, and they're going to love it. What else we got going? Congrats to Buffett Mill Road. They went under contract, and then we found a contract, new home for them, Carter Road. So the goal is to put that all closing at the same time. Congratulations to Peak Lane, Aaron Court under contract, Circle Drive, that 259 Circle Drive, and 260 went under contract. Unfortunately, Circle Drive fell through and went back on the market. So if you have an opportunity for a brand new cabin in the Gatlinburg market, it is back active, but it won't stay that way for long. And that kind of will tie into this show. So on 260 Circle Drive, when a property comes off the market, what do you do in this market? You say, so what do you do if your home sale falls through? That's what we're going to talk about today in the real estate market. If you're watching the news, kind of watching the real estate market in East Tennessee as a whole, there's a lot going on. And a lot of people kind of get involved with the market and know we have limited inventory. So with limited inventory, makes it very, very difficult on buyers. We have buyers relocating from California all across the East Coast to West Coast, coming to see why East Tennessee, that we already knew it's great, man. We know about the Vols, the great people, our lakes, traveling. So much is going on in the East Tennessee market. That's why people are making it home. That's why people are in the Sevierville, Gatlinburg market. If you're investing in real estate, that's why that market's exploding. But sometimes things happen. Sometimes deals fall through. And we're going to talk about that today. What do you do when a property falls through to no fault to your own as a seller? And how do we get it back on the market, even in one of the hottest markets that we've seen in 10 years or longer, right? What are we going to do? We're going to talk about that. So one of the biggest challenges in the market today is if you put your home on the market and it's your primary residence and you're packing up all your belongings and you're moving all across the country, and it go through the inspection and you get to the appraisal, something happens, and before you know it, the whole deal falls through. And you've got the moving truck, or you've got plans, or maybe you've already purchased another home. What are you going to do, and how do you solve that problem? And things that you want to look out for. Obviously, there's a lot of things that are going on, but in the circumstances when you get into the contracts, one of the biggest things when you get to the closing table is a number of contracts that have dramatically, you wouldn't think this, but would have dramatically increased from last year. According to Trulia, a Trulia report, the number of contracts failed doubled from 2.1% to 3.9% in 2016. And I think that was kind of a staggering number because as we know, with everything going on in the economy today, wars and all these things, gas prices, inflation soaring, cost to where you really just can't even afford. Went to Home Depot and Lowe's. A lot of our builders and clients that we're working with, just the costs are skyrocketing. So at what point does that slow the market down? Feds are talking about possibly raising interest rates. Well, they're talking about doing it here in March again. But then the war deal, everything's going on there. can the economy stand it? And so with 3.9 doubling contracts that have fell through, why are they falling through? And what do you do if that happens to you and you're planning to move across country? That's a big move, and that's a big challenge. One of the biggest things that we see financing fall through is with the financing for a combination of multiple reasons, right? Sometimes with the lenders, and I think you'll see it when we see economic times changing and challenging. One of the first things to look for if you're in the marketplace, and if you've been doing it a long time, like a realtor like myself, you understand that when the people get nervous, the first ones to get nervous are the banks. The banks get nervous. They say, oh boy, what's going on in the economy? Are we going to go have a repeat of 2008 or 2013? And they start tightening the guidelines. What happened to our house over on up in Gatlinburg was the buyers are doing these investor loans. So we have a lot of investors coming in town, and they're not going off their income. They're going off the investment loan. Well, they didn't disclose to us that the investment side was going off the rental income. So a lot of properties that are investment, they're going off the rental income. Well, this is a fairly new property, only a couple months old. And so it didn't have a 12-month, 24-month history, right? And so what happened, they were trying to use single-family leases for a value. They're going to use the value. Well, if you guys know the Seville and Gatlinburg market, and I know you do, there is no really single-family leases out there. That market's 80% non-owner occupied, 20% owner occupied, very, very few leases that are comparable to, $1 million to probably $1.5 million. But these things come up. Buyers don't disclose. The other agent that we're working with didn't know exactly everything that was going on. And here's where we get to the rubber meets the road. And then now the house comes off the market. The buyer has plans. And now we've got to go back to the drawing board and fix all this to get it to close again, sell it again, and keep everything together. One of the biggest contingencies you would think that normally sometimes deals don't fall through or fall through. One of the biggest issues that we have would be your inspection. So, your home inspection is a big ticket item. We're working on several right now. I always tell everybody that don't do anything until you get your inspection done. In this market, we're not having a whole lot of issues with appraisals, but it does happen. But our inspection, even if the house is new, it seems like they're always going to find something. My client was telling me, he said, Ryan, they wouldn't be doing their job if the inspectors didn't find something to kind of pick about and pick us apart. And that's part of it, Some of the things are in cosmetic, some of the things are structural, and some of the things are real big issues, and some things you have to walk away from. There's some issues on there that the value of a home inspection, $200 or $300 or $400, whatever it may be the best investment that you ever made, because you may get that problem. And even how strong the market is doesn't mean you want to take on a $50,000 problem, especially today in the economy where the inflation is driving all the labor prices and the cost price. What used to be $10,000 could easily be $30,000. Give you a perfect example. My wife was on Facebook the other day. She was scrolling through the community, and somebody in the community in the neighborhood was painting their house. And she said they were getting some bids. And you guys, if you're in the construction industry, you kind of know the feeling, and we're kind of there as well. She said she got a bid, and she said when she opened the bid, she was almost floored when she got the bid to paint her house. House wasn't that big, maybe 3,000, 3,500 square feet. You guys guess what the price she got? Just guess. I know you can't tell me, but if you had to guess, what do you think it is? Is it 5,000, 10,000, maybe 12,000? April told me, she said, Ryan, $36,000 to paint my Hardin Valley house. I said, well, honey, don't call that painter because he's not going to paint my house. But that's the kind of things that we're getting. And in the market of where we're at, the demand is strong. Right? The demand is strong for the contractors. The subs or the contractors are in huge demand. And so we're getting a little bit of price gouging. We're getting people to charge way, way more than they should. And some are overbidding the jobs because they just don't even have time to do the jobs. And maybe out of 1 out of 10 bids, maybe you'll say, well, hey, I'll pay $35,000. You say, well, that'll be perfect. So let's go back to the home inspection, and we're coming up on the first half of the show. I always say one of the best things you can do when you list a property, and it's a catchy thing to do, but a pre-inspection is a big item. The last thing you want to do is pack up everything. We come down, and before you know it, we've got mold or mildew in the crawl space. We've got some issues that we need to address. It's always easier to address it on the front end and then address it, maybe whether it's a credit or actually fix it, than after we got everything packed up and the timelines are just so tight that you can't reach them. Look, we're coming on a half break. Stay with us. We'll talk more real estate with Ryan. You stay with us.
Knoxville and East Tennessee. The region is known for its rolling hills, rivers, and lakes. There's no better place to work, live, or raise a family. Home is where your story begins. Buying or selling your home is a big decision, and you need a real estate team you can trust.
I'm Ryan Coleman with Hometown Realty, your hometown experts. Whether you're buying or selling a home, let us develop a winning game plan for you.
Hometown Realty is East Tennessee's #1 real estate group and a proud sponsor of the Vols.
Your friend promised we wouldn't be homeless.
He promised. He's doing everything to fix it.
You need to call and have him fix it now.
Hey, man.
Found us a house.
No, not yet. Let me call you back. We're working on it.
Ryan Coleman with Hometown
He
Realty.
says he's doing the best he can do, honey.
Well, he's taking too long. I knew we should have gone with Ryan Coleman.
Choosing the right agent is never easy.
Call your hometown experts. We'll take care of all the details and make sure you don't get stuck in a motel. All right, guys, back at it. Real Estate with Ryan. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Ryan Coleman, owner, founder of Hometown Realty. We talk a little real estate on this show, the little talk show. Everything real estate in East Tennessee, we've got you covered. And if you guys have been following us for a little bit, following us on social media, follow us on TikTok. That's a new platform, a little Instagram. My team's been working hard to kind of get the word out and supporting our Vols. If you guys didn't know, we're a proud sponsor of the men's basketball and women's basketball. And this is Saturday, so it's obviously airing on Saturday. So we have a big senior day. Congrats to our seniors. Our Lady Vols just actually ended their season and starting SEC play. But congrats to those guys. It's been exciting to watch them. I know we've got big tournament play coming up. And I'm excited to give away tickets and all you guys engaging and following our page. And just super to see a bunch of Vol fans going out there and their kids and having a blast and the interaction with my staff and stuff like that. So super glad you guys are following us. We're going to keep doing it. So make sure if you haven't liked our page, do that, subscribe, share to a friend. We've got good real estate topics and always giving away our Vols tickets, man. We love our Vols. We're passionate about that. So let's talk about more on our show, okay? So we're talking about what are you going to do if your house falls through in 2022? How are you going to get it back on the market, whether it's inspection, whether it's an appraisal, just a combination reason. Maybe it's financing. Who knows what happens? Maybe it's a job loss. How do I get it back on the market? And what if my whole house is packed? Nick was saying, hey, tell some stories. I said, Nick, I only got 20 minutes. I can sit here for stories. I can go for days. But some of the stories, we say real estate's always ideal location. It's specific to an address or a location, but everybody has their own story. Everything's different. I say one of the clients we just closed over in Ginbrook, by the way, congrats, over in South Knoxville. She's bought and sold probably 15, 20 homes in her lifetime. She says, Ryan, I thought every time we did a closing that I knew everything. I could just write a book about some of the stuff. And we were closing over there with Amy. And she said, Ryan, did you know... You guys will laugh. It's kind of funny. She said, did you know that I actually had people get to fist fighting at the closing table a long time ago? She's been doing it 35 years. I said, are you kidding? She was serious. So I guess when you think you've heard it all, you've never heard it all. Real estate, as I say, is an emotional deal, and it's always on your toes. But no fist fighting over here. We haven't seen that yet, but anything goes in the marketplace today. Let's talk about if we get past that inspection, why a pre-inspection is good. I won't spend much time on that, but get a pre-inspection. Check out things before you list the property. I think the number one thing you want to do, and this is why we do the show every week, get us to come out, look at your property, give us an idea of what you need to do to prepare your home to sell. A lot of times if a pre-inspection is needed, we're going to tell you that. It's hard to do that over the phone. We have a lot of people that go to ryancoleman.org and they give evaluations and they want to see what their home's worth. And we can give a broad range, but specifically in the marketplace, we want to see it in the eyes of the buyer. We want to see the curb appeal when we pull up. We want to see the subdivisions. Maybe I've got kids, and I want to see if other kids are around that it'd be ideal for other families that are relocating here. And let's see what the backyard looks like. Is there a lot of space? That's, one of the biggest things that we're looking for today is indoor space. We'll talk more about it if we can get to it, is went up 40% that people are looking for that larger space inside and then a bigger backyard, whether it's they got fur babies, space in the backyard, fence, so that they can have their own little retreat there. So that's very, very huge. Another thing that you can do when you put your home on the market, I know this sounds elementary, but we were just working one for about 1.3, and we got an offer and we don't even have a pre-approval letter. One of the biggest things, if you're working with an agent now, or you have a great agent, or you're working with us, we're going to have your pre-approval letter ready to go. Like the last deal, whether it's out-of-state banks or we get a wide variety of lenders, the stronger the lender, the stronger that we know the regulations of the bank, or especially if it's that niche deal. Remember, we talked about that niche loan where it's an investor loan that caused us some problems. So if there's anything that's a little bit out the ordinary, you want to make sure you have that handled. And being a great communicator, working with a buyer in this marketplace is working with that listing agent to let them know how strong that buyer is and what hurdles you've already taken care of, so they could rest assured that if they take this contract and we take your offer, that financing is not one of the issues that you're going to deal with when you're packing up and moving across the area. The stronger the buyer, the stronger the offer. Another thing that's very, very important, if your home falls through, is escrow. We say, okay, what is escrow for? Escrow is a security deposit or earnest money, what they call it, and it goes to good faith. It secures the property. It takes it off the market. And if for some reason that you didn't buy it or just walked away or didn't follow the terms of the contract, the seller would have the ability to forfeit that and go to the seller for damages, moving, things like that. Doesn't happen often, doesn't happen a lot, but having a strong escrow means to the marketplace, to the seller, hey, I'm very serious about your property. If I'm selling $1 million property and you write a $1,000 escrow, that doesn't seem you're very serious. And it doesn't give your chances in this market really to get your property actually contract accepted. So the stronger the escrow guy is always going to be, the stronger the offer, the more serious the buyer. I think because we're in the business, we understand that it's agent to agent and investor to investor, or Mrs. Homeowner to another homeowner, right? Sometimes we don't always relay that. We get busy. And in this marketplace, it's so fast paced, very competitive. One of the most competitive markets I've seen in 23 years. I had a good friend of mine, poor thing, she was almost in tears the other day. And she said, Ryan, I just can't do it anymore. It's just overwhelming. And it's so hard. And my heart goes out to her because she's been doing it, probably 17 years, and different state. But and she has different goals and different plans. But she's in the selling business, and I say it is hard. It is hard. It's hard for everybody in this marketplace, but that's why now more than ever, and that's why we do this radio show. You may not know me from Adam. You may be tuning in and say, "Who's that guy on the radio?" I hope you say that's who's that handsome guy on the radio. I'm just saying, But anyway, when you tune in, you say, hopefully that guy sounds like he knows a little something. And in this marketplace, the number one thing that you need is a great agent and a great team in your corner. It is stressful. Real estate is stressful as a whole. But the last thing you want to do is kind of go out here in this fierce market where everything's overinflated and things keep rising. And it looks like that there's no end in sight, right? You want a great agent in your corner. That's why we do this show every week, to kind of share you a little bit about what we do and how we help you. And if you choose to work with us, how we can walk you through that finish line. I'm never going to promise it will be easy because life's not easy. But hopefully what we can do is make that journey together. We're always stronger as teamwork. Teamwork to make the dream work is what Chad says over here. And that's the same thing I say. It's just teamwork. And there's no I in team. So if we can work together, hopefully we can accomplish your dreams there. Let's talk about appraisals, the next thing, why deals fall through and why a possible issue. Well, the number one thing would be, guess what? We probably push the home value to astronomical prices. We haven't pushed it a little bit. I don't think we've seen too many sellers in today's society that we're in and say, Ryan, I need a little more. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's go a little higher. Let's go way higher. It doesn't matter if it's appraised. It's okay. There's no homes out there. So that's one of the things you have to watch is because there's lack of inventory, most homes, I'd say 80% or greater, are going to be financed. And as we talked about earlier in the first part of the show, the banks start getting nervous when we start looking at the climate of the conditions of the markets and what is going to happen over in Ukraine and dealing with Russia and everything that we're dealing with. How is that going to affect interest rates, consumer confidence? How is that going to affect the banks? Those things are concerning. So when they tighten regulation, because right now, last 2 years, the market's really good. But when they restrict, is that going to bump some people that were financing? Maybe they were pushing their limit to what they could afford, and now they don't qualify for that range. How about the appraisals that we deal with, that the pending appraisals that now we just had a job transfer, they sold a little bit less, and now that starts the domino rolling, and now the home didn't appraise and we're $25,000 off. So I think inspections and appraisals are one of the two biggest things you need to watch through. If you can get through the inspection, usually the appraisal will follow. If you had a great agent setting your price, also keeping the seller at a realistic reason on list price. And if you knew that you're going to have a value issue, hopefully we've got an appraisal gap where we have the buyer has the funds for the difference to cover it. In closing, guys, there's no easy way to get it. You've got to put the property back on the market, have a marketing plan to refresh pictures, redo everything, and come out with a strong marketing approach to get the home back under contract. I say it's one of the hardest things to do because you lose momentum. In our business, it's momentum. And one of the biggest questions that we get from agents is, why did it fall through? What happened? Well, sometimes it just happens. It doesn't mean something's wrong with the property, but this is what we get. So you need a strong team that's going to recombat that, re-energize the listing, and guess what? Get it back to pending, because a great home is what buyers are looking for. And I hope you've enjoyed this show. As always, easy number, 693 sold, and we'll hope to see you next weekend.